I am introducing Richard Schwartz. He is the author of Judaism and Vegetarianism and other books, as well as over 200 articles and 50 podcasts. He is president of Jewish Vegetarians of North America and president of the Society of Ethical and Religious Vegetarians. And he's a producer of the documentary A Sacred Duty. Here you go. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for the kind introduction. And I just want to point out the real reason that I'm qualified here. I have this special tie, all kinds of fruits on it. And in addition, this other tie, all kinds of vegetables. And I've done a big study. If you eat these kinds of foods for 100 years, you'll live a very long time. Works out every time. Okay, now, this DVD, this is very professionally done, a multi-award winning producer did it. We've given out 40,000 copies. If you didn't get one already, right over here at the Jewish Vegetarians of North America table, we'll be happy to give you a copy of that. Okay, I mentioned the ties. In addition, I'm wearing this special yarmulke here, all kinds of fruits as well. Tells me I'm a veggie, so I don't forget. But most important of all, I'm wearing Fruit of the Loom underwear. Okay. Now, in addition, believe it or not, I'm turning 80 in just a couple of weeks. They're having a special event honoring me at that time. If you want more information, again, the Jewish Vegetarians of North America table, right over there. Okay. Now, we have some good news and some bad news. Unfortunately, the bad news is really very bad. The world is heading, very unfortunately, to a climate catastrophe and major food, water shortages, other environmental threats. The good news is a shift to vegetarian diets can make a major difference and help avert these potential catastrophes. And in addition, everyone here can have a major impact and make a difference. So I'm going to go a little bit into how serious the climate threat is, because if we don't avert a climate catastrophe, there's not going to be much of a good world for future generations, for our children and grandchildren. Okay, now I wish I could say this is just my opinion, but this is a consensus of the vast majority of climate experts, 97% of the climate experts, and science academies all over the world all agree. 99+% of the peer-reviewed articles all are indicating we're heading toward a climate catastrophe, and the Earth has been warming. There was just a report every year in the 21st century, all 13 years have been in the top warmest 14 years. Unfortunately, we're seeing examples out there. California, the wildfires, and then a heavy rain, the flooding, the drought that's occurring in many areas, causing food prices to go up. Unfortunately, the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has hit 400 parts per million. Carbon dioxide, the first time in human history, and the experts feel that 350 is a cutoff point. We're up here at 400, not 350, and it's increasing. So many examples. We're seeing more and more storms, floods, droughts, and wildfires. So the connection here, because you've heard some very good speakers, they've talked about very important things, how animals are mistreated, 60 to 65 billion farmed animals worldwide, and about the health aspects. So I'm going a little more into the climate change aspect. Most people know that we've got to cut down on emissions from coal-burning power plants. We've got to get more efficient cars, more efficient light bulbs. They don't realize the very significant contribution that animal-based diets are making. 2006, there was a report, not from the Sierra Club or an animal rights group, from the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, and this is an amazing, amazing thing. They pointed out animal-based agriculture actually emits more greenhouse gases in carbon dioxide equivalents than all the cars, planes, trains, all the means of transportation worldwide combined. Think of all these cars and the millions of cars and the traffic jams and the planes taking off all the time. 2009, there was a cover story in World Watch magazine by two environmentalists associated with the World Bank, indicating that animal-based agriculture emits at least 51% of all the human-caused greenhouse gases. So you can see that having a tremendous effect. Much of this is because of the methane given off by cows. And that methane's only in the atmosphere for about 20 years, and during that time, methane is 72 times as potent in warming the planet as carbon dioxide. So there's no way we're going to avert a climate catastrophe without a major shift toward plant-based diets. Unfortunately, the trend is, well, look, it's going down. People are eating less meat in the United States, but countries like China, India, other countries are becoming more affluent, are eating more meat. So it's very important that there's a shift toward plant-based diets to reduce the effect, greenhouse effect from these animals. So this is why, if we want a decent world for our children and grandchildren, there's got to be a major effort to move toward plant-based diets. And what I'm calling for, I'm saying animal-based diets, in a way, it's madness and sheer insanity. Because when you take into account that there's like an epidemic of disease out there, we can reduce diseases quite a bit. In many cases, we can even reverse diseases to an animal plant-based diet. In addition, there's about 1 billion people that are chronically hungry in the world today. 20 million people are dying of hunger, and it affects every single year. And yet, incredibly, 70% of the grain produced in the U.S. is fed to animals destined for slaughter. So we can reduce hunger. What makes that even more mad and insane is that 70% of the grain fed to animals, we are taking healthy products, corn and oats and soy, high in fiber and complex carbohydrates, devoid of saturated fat and cholesterol. We cycle them through animals and we get animal products that are devoid of fiber and complex carbohydrates but high in saturated fat and cholesterol. So many, many negative effects, and then of course the climate effect that I have mentioned. So it's urgent that everybody here gets involved if we want a decent world for future generations. As I say, animal-based diets like madness and sheer insanity, we have to respond, in effect, with the moral madness, the moral passion of the biblical prophets, and really challenge the establishment, write letters to editors, get our politicians to realize that this has to be a major change, go to medical conferences even and say, medical